chosen one. I do not require you to remain with a message, a video, or a particular speaker. In order to keep the good that is meant for you, there is no single moment that will disappear forever, merely because you need to pause, reflect, or return to the responsibilities waiting for you. My love does not hold you through threats, and my guidance does not depend upon whether you stare attentively at a screen until the final minute. I only invite you to quiet your heart freely, because amid the rapid pace of life, you may have forgotten the honest voice within you. If these words help you see something that needs to change, receive what is useful. If you need to rest, then rest. If you need to return later, you will still be welcomed. I do not close the door because you fell one step behind, nor do I remove your opportunity to grow merely because your attention was once distracted. I know that during recent days, there have been moments when you felt surrounded by a quiet peace, even though you could not explain it in words. Perhaps you stopped yourself just in time from making a hasty decision. Perhaps you did not send a message while angry, did not accept an offer before carefully reading it, or did not enter a place that you later realized was unsuitable. You may call this intuition, maturity, the prompting of conscience, or the result of lessons accumulated over time. What matters is not finding a mystical name for it, but appreciating your ability to pause before acting. Protection in life often comes through ordinary choices such as these, a moment of hesitation that helps you examine the truth, a friend who reminds you to think carefully, or a boundary you finally have the courage to establish. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, reminds you of the courage to remain firm in truth. Michael does not speak in my place to declare that an invisible door is about to close, nor does he promise you an unstoppable stream of miracles. His image simply helps you remember that goodness must be protected through awareness, discipline, and integrity. Yet I remain the Father, speaking directly to you. You do not need to live under constant tension, as though one distracted minute could ruin your entire future. Live attentively, but do not become obsessed. Keep your heart open, but do not allow anyone to use spiritual language to take control of your attention, decisions, or faith. There is something you have prayed for over a long time, and I know that waiting has often caused you to wonder whether your voice has been heard. Perhaps you have prayed for peace within your family, stable employment, healing in a relationship, an opportunity to correct a mistake, or the strength to leave something that has exhausted you. I do not promise that. Immediately after this moment, everything will appear in your life exactly as you desire. Some prayers are answered through an opportunity, while others are answered when you recognize that you need to choose another path. Sometimes circumstances change, and sometimes you are changed so that you can face those circumstances. Therefore, hold on to hope, but do not place your hope upon a deadline or an absolute declaration. Let hope walk together with action, preparation, and the willingness to accept that the answer may differ from what you imagined. You were not invisible during difficult seasons. I know the days when you performed everything that needed to be done, but no longer felt fully present within your own life. I know how betrayal caused you to doubt even sincere people, how loneliness forced you to learn to support yourself, and how some nights you wished only for tomorrow to feel a little lighter. But I do not want you to believe that every tear is being recorded as a debt that heaven must one day repay through success, wealth, or a miracle. Your pain matters because you matter, not because it purchases a reward. I want you to heal, not to be trained, to endure more and more, in the hope of exchanging your suffering for a greater future. What you have endured can become wisdom if you are willing to look back honestly. Betrayal may teach you to give trust more slowly, but do not allow it to teach you to remain closed forever. Loneliness may help you appreciate genuine relationships, but do not let it convince you that you need no one. Hardship may make you stronger, but do not use that strength to refuse rest or support. Not every painful experience is a refining fire that was sent to you. Some things happen because people make wrong choices, because circumstances are unjust, or because life has limitations. Yet, even if I do not call those things good, you can still decide that they will not be entirely wasted. I also want you to understand that distraction is not always a force, secretly trying to pull you away from a blessing. Sometimes it simply means that you are too tired, overwhelmed, or lacking clear priorities. If your mind continually wanders, do not condemn yourself. Examine how you are sleeping, how much you are working, whether you are taking in too much information, or whether you are avoiding something that makes you anxious. You do not need to eliminate every sound in order to live meaningfully. You only need to create enough time to focus on what is important. Turn off notifications when doing something that requires attention. Complete one task at a time, instead of opening too many things at once. Let concentration become a habit you practice, not a spiritual test that only a chosen few can overcome. A message does not activate the future by itself. Words become useful only when they lead you to concrete choices. If you realize that you need to care for your health, arrange an examination, or adjust the rhythm of your life. If you know that a relationship is harming you, seek support and establish boundaries. If you need to improve your finances, look honestly at the numbers, make a plan, and avoid promises of effortless profit. If you have delayed a task, set aside time and begin. Change is not unlocked by a magical phrase. It is built through responsibility, perseverance, and the ability to begin again after days when you did not do well. There have been times when you wanted to give up and believed that you had lost all your strength, but needing rest or a change of direction does not make you weak. Learn to distinguish perseverance from stubbornly continuing something that is destroying you. A mature person does not only know how to endure, they also know how to reassess. If a plan continually fails, examine the cause. If an environment leaves you exhausted, consider what can be changed. If a relationship is no longer safe, do not call remaining there faithfulness. Courage sometimes means continuing forward, but at other times it means stopping, accepting the truth, and choosing a healthier path. I do not want you to live with the feeling that you are being constantly watched to determine whether you trust enough. You are loved on strong days and on days when you feel weak. I do not award points every time you remain calm and subtract points whenever you doubt. Doubt can be part of your process of seeking truth. Bring your questions with humility. Search for trustworthy information, and do not fear adjusting your beliefs when you discover that you misunderstood something. Mature faith is not the refusal to ask questions. It is the ability to continue living kindly, honestly, and responsibly while you do not yet possess every answer. If a power is moving toward you, understand that it is first the power of choices for which you have prepared. An opportunity may appear because you developed another skill. A relationship may improve because you began communicating clearly. A problem may be resolved because you stopped avoiding it. Peace may return because you no longer participate in every battle. These changes may feel like a new stream beginning to flow, but they do not remove your responsibility. Opportunities still need to be examined. Relationships still need to be nurtured. Success still needs to be managed with humility. I am not telling you that your waiting is over, and that what you desire is merely waiting for you to acknowledge it. Some things still require time, and not every delay lies within your control. But you can stop waiting passively. While the answer has not yet arrived, you can still prepare. While you cannot yet see the door, you can still learn to walk more steadily. While another person has not changed, you can still protect your boundaries. You cannot control every outcome, but you can manage your attention, attitude, and the work placed before you. Be cautious of promises concerning a flood of breakthrough that causes you to expect every problem to disappear at once. Life rarely changes in such a neat way. You may receive good news in one area while still needing perseverance in another. You may feel more peaceful while still having bills to pay, a difficult conversation to face, or a wound requiring time to heal. This does not mean that you have failed. Restoration does not always mean that everything becomes easy. Sometimes it means that difficult things no longer cause you to collapse completely. Do not interpret every feeling of relief as confirmation that a decision is unquestionably right. Emotions provide valuable information, but they must be considered alongside facts, consequences, and wise advice. If a choice involves finances, legal matters, health, or safety, seek professional guidance. Do not rely only upon a whisper, a dream, or temporary excitement. What is good is not afraid of examination. A healthy path can withstand questions, delay, and transparency. I know that you long to be released from burdens that have continued for so long. Begin by distinguishing what you can put down today. You can stop arguing with someone who refuses to listen. You can stop trying to prove your worth to people who have decided not to see it. You can release the belief that you must save everyone. You can forgive yourself for the years when you moved slowly. Yet there are burdens that cannot be released through willpower alone. Debt, illness, family responsibilities, or deep emotional wounds. For these, seek a plan, time, and companionship. I am not ashamed of you when you need help. Forgive those who hurt you, but do not use forgiveness to deny the truth. You can release the desire for revenge while maintaining distance. You can hope that they improve without placing your safety in promises that have not been proven. Forgive yourself for repeatedly neglecting your needs, trusting the wrong people, or remaining still for too long. Regret is useful only when it leads to another way of living. You do not need to keep punishing yourself in order to prove that you learned the lesson. My beloved child, what I want to bring is not an intense emotional moment that quickly disappears. I want to help you build a life with a foundation, knowing that you are loved so that you do not sell your dignity cheaply, knowing that time is precious so that you do not give it to every battle, knowing your limitations so that you are not ashamed to rest, and knowing the value of truth so that you are not easily led by glamorous promises. This is the kind of strength that does not need to display itself, yet can keep you steady through many seasons. Therefore, you do not need to fear stepping away from a message. Walk away from any words that bind you through pressure. Carry with you what is true. You have not been forgotten. You still have the ability to change, and difficult years do not possess the right to determine your entire future. Then return to real life. Drink water, rest, fulfill your responsibilities, speak with someone you trust, and take the nearest necessary step. Faith does not live only in moments when you listen to inspirational words. It is nurtured through the way you live afterward. My beloved child, there is no clock that begins counting down from the moment you open a message, and your future is not determined by the few minutes you remain or leave. What happened before today still matters, because it gave you lessons, experience, wounds that need healing, and abilities waiting to be used more wisely. I do not require you to forget the past in order to focus only upon a moment someone has called sacred. I invite you to look upon your entire journey with compassion, and then choose what you will do from this moment forward. One quiet minute may become a beautiful beginning, but it is the faithful choices that follow which gradually create change. I know that there have been hours when you were alone and longed so intensely for an answer that it seemed as though your entire being was calling out. You hoped for a call, a letter, an opportunity, or a resolution to prove that your years of waiting had not been meaningless. Many times you checked your phone, inbox, and external doors, hoping that what you prayed for had finally arrived. I do not despise that longing. When you have persevered for a long time, even the smallest sign can stir your heart. But I do not want you to place all your peace upon whether news arrives at precisely the time you predicted. Your worth is not determined by an approval, and your hope should not collapse merely because an answer continues to be delayed. Archangel Michael, my faithful messenger, protector, and executor of my will, is mentioned as an image of the courage to remain grounded in truth amid exaggerated promises. Michael does not speak in my place to tell you that a miracle is certainly being delivered to your door, nor does he require you to perform a ritual to permit heaven to act. The protection he represents is the ability to guard your mind against words that use excitement to take away your judgment. Protect your heart against despair when what you expect has not happened, and protect your future through responsible decisions. I remain the Father speaking directly to you. You do not need to panic, prove your faith, or give any message the authority to control your life. You do not need to type the word Amen to receive love or cause something good to begin moving. If you speak that word in prayer, let it arise freely as your agreement with compassion, truth, and the determination to live more wisely. But a word written beneath a screen does not unlock the future, command angels, or transform a promise into reality. I heard you before you found the words. I knew the desires you concealed, the things you were too ashamed to tell anyone, and the times when all you could do was sit quietly in exhaustion. You do not need to leave public evidence for me to know your heart. True agreement is expressed through the way you live. When you recognize that you must correct a mistake and courageously apologize, that is an agreement with change. When you establish a boundary against something that is destroying your dignity, that is a yes to peace. When you seek help, instead of continuing to carry everything alone, that is an act of faith. When you finish delayed work, manage money carefully, care for your health, and remain kind during a difficult day, you open possibilities that no comment can replace. A letter, email, call, or genuine opportunity may indeed come to you. Life always contains unexpected news, and some of it may open a new direction. But I do not want you to live each day in a state of watchfulness, interpreting every ringing sound or knock as certain proof that a miracle has arrived. Keep hope, but also check the facts. An email may contain an opportunity, but it may also be advertising or fraud. A call may bring good news, but it still needs verification. An offer may look attractive, but you must read the conditions, consider the consequences, and ask a professional if it involves finances, legal matters, health, or employment. Not every offer that arrives precisely when you are longing for change is suitable. When someone deeply desires transformation, they become more vulnerable to promises of quick results. Therefore, do not allow hope to take away your alertness. If someone asks you to transfer money urgently, keep something secret, provide private information, or decide immediately so that you do not miss the opportunity. Step back. What is healthy does not fear transparency. A genuine opportunity can withstand questions, verification, and time for reflection. I do not take goodness away because you acted cautiously. Discernment does not oppose faith. It protects you from using faith to ignore danger signs. You may experience goosebumps, warmth, tears, or a familiar feeling while listening to words that touch your experiences. These reactions may be very real, but they are not necessarily confirmation that a miracle has been ordained. Your body and emotions are connected. You may experience goosebumps while listening to music, become moved by a memory, feel relief when understood, or cry when something suppressed for too long is finally named. Appreciate that moment without hastily transforming it into evidence for a grand promise. Emotion can open a door for you to look within yourself, but important decisions must still be founded upon truth, responsibility, and time. If tears fall, do not be ashamed. Perhaps you have been strong for too long, and your heart is finally being permitted to soften. Ask what the tears are saying. Are you grieving something you lost, exhausted from waiting, or relieved because you finally feel heard? Do not force yourself to call them a sign of breakthrough. Let them do something simpler, help you acknowledge your emotions and recognize what needs care. If sadness, anxiety, or hopelessness continues and interferes with your life, seek a trustworthy person or an appropriate professional. You do not need to suffer alone to prove that you are strong. I do not promise a blessing that will shake your entire world, lift you beyond everything you ever imagined, and become impossible for anyone to stop. Such words may excite you, but they can also create deep disappointment when life continues with ordinary difficulties. I want to give you a hope built upon a stronger foundation. You can learn. You can change the way you respond. You can make a plan, seek support, and begin again after failure. Not every effort will produce the result you desire, but every sincere step can help you understand more clearly, mature more deeply, and become less controlled by the past. Sometimes the miracle you are waiting for does not arrive as an external event, but begins when you find the courage to do what you once avoided. You open your financial records instead of continuing to fear money. You call a doctor instead of simply hoping that a symptom will disappear. You tell your family the truth about your exhaustion instead of continuing to pretend that you are fine. You submit an application, learn a new skill, seek advice, or end a habit that is eroding your life. These actions are not glamorous, but they open genuine possibilities. A door often does not simply appear out of nothing. Many times, it is built through hundreds of small steps you quietly take. Perhaps you believe an old mistake uprooted your opportunity. I want you to release that condemnation. Mistakes have consequences, and some things cannot be completely restored to their former state. But they do not necessarily determine your entire future. You can accept responsibility, apologize, make restitution where possible, and choose to live differently. Do not deny what happened, but neither should you turn it into your identity. Someone who once failed can learn to become trustworthy. Someone who once managed things unwisely can develop discipline. Someone who once trusted the wrong person can learn to recognize sincerity. Do not regard every person who disagrees with you or every obstacle as an enemy, trying to uproot your blessing. Some people offer correction because they see a risk you have overlooked. Some doors close because the timing is unsuitable, because you need more preparation, or because the direction is not as healthy as you believed. Learn to distinguish words intended to diminish you from warnings supported by facts. Do not allow your ego to reject every correction. A mature person keeps what is true, releases what is malicious, and does not need to turn every disagreement into a battle. If a genuine opportunity comes, do not ask only whether it is great. Ask whether it is good. Does it align with your values, family responsibilities, and health? Is it transparent, lawful, and sustainable? Do the people involved respect your boundaries and your right to choose? Does it require you to lie, conceal information, or sacrifice your peace merely to achieve something? A large door does not always lead to a good place. Discernment will help you choose what can nourish your life over time, not merely what makes you feel special for a moment. I know you want to be lifted from where you are, but do not despise an ordinary life. A good life does not necessarily need to amaze the entire world. It may be a family cared for patiently, a job performed with integrity, debt gradually repaid, a relationship healed, or a person who once felt hopeless beginning to rediscover joy. These results may not always be called miracles, but they contain the beauty of faithfulness, courage, and love practiced day after day. Forgive those who promised great things and then left you disappointed. Perhaps they also believed what they said, or perhaps they used your hope to attract attention. Forgiveness does not mean continuing to place your trust in them. Learn to evaluate a message by its fruit. Healthy guidance helps you become calmer, more responsible, and freer. Manipulation often makes you fear missing out. Depend upon the speaker and wait for signs instead of taking practical action. You have the right to step away from words that make you anxious without feeling guilty. Forgive yourself for believing too quickly. When you are wounded and tired, a beautiful promise may become a lifeline you want to grasp. This does not make you foolish. It shows that you needed hope now. I invite you to build hope upon a different foundation. Truth, trustworthy relationships, knowledge, discipline, rest, and the ability to begin again. This hope does not burn fiercely and then disappear. It is like a lamp cared for each day, bright enough to reveal your next step. My beloved child, nothing needs to explode in your name to prove that your life possesses meaning. You do not need to be elevated above others. What I desire is for you to be released from fear, self-condemnation, and the need to prove yourself through great accomplishments. Use your abilities to serve, your experience to show compassion, and your opportunities to create goodness. When you are given more, manage it with humility. When you still possess little, appreciate it and use it not wisely. Your value does not rise or fall according to how much attention you receive. If you are waiting today for a letter or a call, continue preparing while you wait. Check your inbox reasonably, but do not allow it to control your entire day. Complete what you can do. Prepare for good news and also for the possibility that you may need to change direction. If good news comes, receive it with gratitude and discernment. If it does not arrive yet, allow yourself to feel disappointed without concluding that everything is over. Perhaps you need to follow up, try another approach, or look toward another door. I do not want you to live in a state of waiting for a miracle, but in a state of readiness to live responsibly, regardless of your circumstances. Let peace become the foundation of your home, not the prize at the end of the journey. Let gratitude remind you of what you already possess, without denying what is still missing. Let forgiveness remove old burdens while preserving necessary boundaries. And let faith become the strength that helps you act, not the reason you remain passive before what needs to change. I remain with you when the phone rings, and during days when no news comes, when you are deeply moved, and when every emotion has become quiet. Michael remains an image of protection and courage, but you do not need to search for a mystical fingerprint upon every event. Look for truth, transparency, and good fruit. Listen to your body without assigning extraordinary meaning to every sensation. Open your heart to hope without abandoning your ability to think. Now step away from the imaginary clock that is counting down. Return to your breathing, your room, and today's responsibilities. Write a plan. Send the necessary email. Call the person you need to speak with. Rest if you are exhausted. Seek support if you cannot continue alone. You do not need to wait for the world to shake. Life can change through one very quiet decision. That you will no longer give fear authority, chase absolute promises, or abandon yourself. Continue with gentle courage. If something good arrives, give thanks and manage it wisely. If it is delayed, continue preparing. If a door closes, learn what needs to be learned and seek another direction. No mistake, person, or moment possesses the authority to take away your ability to live better from today onward. The greatest miracle is not when every circumstance changes instantly, but when you continue choosing love instead of fear, truth instead of illusion, responsibility instead of passivity, and enduring hope instead of temporary excitement.